Good morning, everybody. I am who I am by the grace of God. I am who I am by the grace of God. I'm not a mistake, I'm not an error, but I am wondrously fearfully made. I am who I am by the grace of God. Come on, y'all. I am who I am by the grace of God. I am who I am by the grace of God. I'm not a mistake, I'm not an error, but I am wondrously fearfully made. I am who I am by the grace of God. Right now, I am wonderful. Right now, I am beautiful. Right now, I am reflecting God. The divine inside of me. The divine inside of me. Right now, I am wonderful. Right now, I am beautiful. Right now, I am reflecting God. The divine inside of me. The divine inside of me. One more time. Right now, I'm wonderful. Right now, I'm beautiful. Right now, I am reflecting God. The divine inside of me. Yes, it is. The divine inside of me. Right now. Yeah, that's it.
Good morning, you beautiful people. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Pittsburgh, and it is Sunday, May 25th of 2025. I am so glad to see you all on this Memorial Day weekend. I am Reverend Dr. Kate R. Walker, and use the she, her pronouns. And I am truly honored to serve as the minister of this beloved community. I am a middle-aged, light-skinned female. My hair is mid-length. Yes, it's gone curly. And it is light brown, and I wear glasses, and I have on a teal blouse and a blue and pinkish stole. I am wearing a mask when I'm around you all today because I have a cold, and I'd like to not be that generous with you, all of you, keeping it to myself. You are all welcome here. I'm so delighted to have you here in this beautiful space and this beautiful day. If you are brand new, a particular welcome to you for your courage to come and be with us this morning as you chose to get out of bed and come on down, or perhaps you're here on YouTube. You are welcome to be here, and we are so delighted that you've chosen for this day to be part of you, or in the future if you have chosen to be part of us. If you have been coming for a very long time and you have your established pew, you are welcome as well. Delighted to have you, and I hope you will share your pew with everybody else who's in this community. We are Unitarian Universalists, a multi-faith religious community. All are welcome. Diversity is celebrated. Questions are expected. Answers are sometimes provided. We're learning. We're loved. You are welcome in the fullness of who you are. And if this is your first time with us, please, we are going to have a brief introduction to Unitarian Universalism following the service, about 15 minutes after the end of the service. If you go to the welcome desk out front, you can sign in, and they'll also give you directions on where that is. And hopefully they'll tell me where it is as well, and I will greet you there. I also, we're an active and engaged community, and so there's always a lot going on. Today, we're inviting the children to please stay in the service today. There's no religious education, so we're going to sing for our children after the story, but they're just going to stay put, and we're delighted to have you all here. We are having a capital campaign, and we'll have more from Kyle Gracie later as a testimony, but what I'm particularly excited about is that we have bumped up over $1 million in generosity. I know, isn't that fantastic? Absolutely fantastic. We're at 48%, we're at 67% of our goal. And that is an aspirational goal. The 1.5 million is an aspirational goal. Originally, our goal was a lofty $650,000, and we thought, you guys are more generous than that, and you have proved us correct. So we thought we'd bring in the big stuff. So this is an aspirational goal, and we're just delighted to be able to start putting this stuff into action. And I'm also delighted to tell you that contracts are being signed. Checks are being deposited into our contractors, and by the end of the summer, we're gonna have this place transformed with new lighting and visual and audio, and we're just so excited. Yeah, I know when you come back, you're gonna be like, I can see my order of service. I can see each other. So it is just absolutely fantastic. I also want to invite you to please put on your calendar our annual picnic. It's next Sunday on June 1st at 12:30 at Shenley Park. There are posters all over. It's in our newsletter. Please join us. Bring food, bring laughter, bring a picnic basket. Just come. Delighted to have you. Bike, walk, drive, bring your dogs. Looking forward to it. What else can I tell you? For the capital campaign, we are going to have a information session following the service, directly following the service that Evie Emmons will lead, and that is in Priestley Room? Yes, in the Priestley Room down the hall to your left, and she'll be happy to answer your questions. You won't be asked for money, but you will be provided a pledge form if you are so moved. And we welcome whatever gifts. We are shooting for a high participation to make sure that everybody feels a part of this. So, lots going on around here. Delighted to have you all. And I think it's time to take a deep breath and arrive. Having come at you with all that energy, I invite you to feel yourself connected to each other in this time and space and our sanctuary. Find yourself connected to all that you hold as most valuable and holy. To others who are gathered in worship this weekend throughout this city and throughout this country. We come together with love and compassion as we turn to our chalice lighting, the symbol of our faith. Two circles of Unitarians and Universalists, of all that unites us and all that connects us. We gather today on this Memorial Day weekend, a day of both celebration with family and also solemnity and memorial for all those who have died in combat and wars throughout our history. Welcome, welcome to you all. I invite you to rise as you're able, in body and spirit, in 1017, building a new way. You will find the chorus in the order of service.
Thank you, Reverend Kate. We're singing 3 verses. The words are in your order of service. If you're looking at the hymnal, it's verses 1, 3, and 4. Here we go.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. Feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way.
Good morning. I am Alice Carnes. My pronouns are she and her. And for people with visual disabilities, I'm a short, fair-skinned woman in my early 70s with graying and white chin-length hair. I wear glasses with, I guess it's a purplish frame now. And I always wear the silver sunburst pendant with a moonstone in the center. And today I have on a multicolored flowered dress. And we are going to do the collective reading. It's in your order of service. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We covenant to practice interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence. To practice pluralism, we celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. To practice justice, we work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. To practice transformation, we adapt to the changing world. To practice generosity, we cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. To practice equity, we declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through spiritual discipline of love. May it be so.
I'm going to invite the children to stay there because I, again, don't want to be too generous with my germs. So this is a traditional fable from China. It's short, but then I want to explore a little bit about maybe what they were teaching. So once there was an oyster laying out on the beach with its shell open and a beautiful oyster looking delicious inside that shell. Along comes a heron, and it sees that beautiful oyster, and it's hungry, and it dives in with its beak to grab that oyster, and at that moment, the oyster's clams shuts its shell tight, and the heron can't get its beak out. Try, and you get this struggle going on between the heron and the oyster. And the heron says, oyster, you can't let go today, or tomorrow there will be a dead oyster. And the oyster says, if you don't let go of me today or tomorrow, there will be a dead heron. And the two struggled on, giving and taking, and neither one would let go. And along comes a fisherman and sees this ongoing struggle and their obliviousness to anything around them and scoops them up and says, dinner. And the fable is quarreling leads to losses. Now, when you think about it, as I said, this is a fable, a traditional fable from China, which honors community and family and cohesion and not a lot of fighting and quarreling. So it makes sense that that would be a traditional tale from China. How do you think that would go in our country? What do you think? What do you think would be the outcome if we were to teach our children, as I am today? What do you think might be a different lesson than quarreling leads to losses? Any ideas? I know your brains are ticking. tick, tick. Well, maybe it's a different way of doing quarreling. Maybe the problem was not that they were quarreling, but that neither one of them would give an inch. But on the other hand, it was a life and death situation, wasn't it? Yeah, so I think in America, the lesson might be more along the lines of, okay, the fisherman won in that one, yeah? The fisherman is the winner in there. But maybe it's how do we do quarreling in a different way, where we can listen to one another and maybe give a little bit now and then, and make it less about life and death situations. So it's an interesting conversation to have, I think, with a 12 or 13-year-old, maybe more difficult with a 5-year-old. I don't know. But it's good to start the conversation about how do we have differences when our interests are in conflict. And I think if we start having those conversations with our children at younger and younger ages, we might be less prone to going to extremes and maybe be more comfortable with quarreling or differences in arguments. Do you think? If we start at a younger age and just see what happened, different outcomes that can happen when our interests are in conflict with one another. So just some thinking. In the meantime, feel free to go ahead and have some oysters for dinner. I don't know, be the heron if you want, or the fisherman. So we're going to sing This Little Light of Mine, but the children are invited to please stay put. Thanks.
Of mine, everybody say, oh, let it shine. Oh, this little light. Come on, clap your hands. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. Let it shine, let it shine. All over Pittsburgh, all over Pittsburgh. I'm gonna let it. Everybody say, all over Pittsburgh. I'm gonna let it shine. All over Pittsburgh. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. One more time. This the light of mine. This the light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah. This the light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah. This the light of mine. Oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm delighted to welcome forward Kyle Gracie, who is our very beloved and respected treasurer.
Morning. So I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the capital campaign. Maybe you've heard of it. As the treasurer, I know better than many, although not the most, I would give that to the Building and Grounds Committee, how much effort it takes to sustain the physical space that we are in. And I also, unfortunately, have to be the person who, for many years, has had to say no to the Building and Grounds Committee when they've had projects that they've wanted to run in this church, things that they wanted to restore and maintain or build anew, because we just didn't have that capital money. And so I'm really excited to see the progress that everyone has been willing to contribute to this capital campaign, because let me tell you, we need it. This is a historic building, literally historic. We've gotten grants for the historic nature of this building, and it takes a lot of work. It has seen a lot of things. And so your generosity in supporting this campaign, for those of you who have pledged already, it means a big deal. It means transformative, literally transformative change for this congregation. But there's still more work to do, as Reverend Kate said. And so if you haven't pledged already, I really encourage you to do so because it is really a community effort. And right now we have part of our community contributing, but not everyone. And if you were here last week, you also heard me talk about how this isn't just a one-off thing. Not only are we going to be able to sustain big projects like improving the lighting in this room and improving the heating and the cooling in the education wing of our building, which are major projects, but it also means that we are going to be able to endow a capital endowment that is going to be able to create lasting projects for this church every single year. So this is investing in the legacy of this congregation in addition to investing in its present. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't come to this church because it's a nice building, although it helps. I come here because it's a home. It's a home for people who think hard about how to be better people. It's a home for people who think hard about how to make the world a better place. Now, I trust that Unitarians could do all of that in an empty field, but having a container for that, having a home like this, makes all of that contemplation and that action so much more comfortable. And that matters because when we're comfortable, when we're free to think, when we're free to dream, that sustains and creates something in us that can change the world. And so ultimately what we're investing in this capital campaign is not this building in and of itself, but it is the home for all of us and the home for the people who will come after us. So I thank you for all of you who have made contributions and who have already started to donate. And if you are in a position to be a part of that community and that campaign and aren't already, please come talk to us and we would love to have you. Thank you.
Every month, we share our generosity with a designated organization, and this month, the organization is Reading Ready Pittsburgh, founded by our church member, Mary Dennison. It's a local nonprofit dedicated to early literacy. It believes in the power of family book sharing to ensure that all children are ready to thrive in school. And you can read more about this in your order of service. All donations with this organization are shared 50-50. Our religious community is made up of volunteers and staff, creating and hosting a variety of programming. We rely on your financial support. In addition to the collection plate, you can donate by texting GIVE to 412-435-1050, following the directions. And there are more directions also in the order of service. The offering will now be gratefully received to support the wonder, the work, and the witness of our beloved community.
This song is going to be led by Dell Fulham, who actually wrote the song that we're getting ready to sing. Let's welcome Dell. a vow to the Lord and I made a change. There's a change in me, yeah. I couldn't even see it, but I gave it to the Lord and I made a change. Oh, now I don't do the same things like I used to. Lord, you changed my evil way. That's why I'm standing here today, giving you thanks and praise. Thank you, Lord, you're so wonderful, you're so marvelous. Lord, you're so kind. You kept keeping in there, being a way maker in the nick of the time. There's a change in me, something that I couldn't even see. There's a change in me, something that I couldn't even see. Help me say there's a change, there's a change, there's a change in my life. God, to renew your spirit, to renew your mind. With the change. Oh, I thank God for my change. There's peace in me. Oh, I praise thank God for love. That power in Jesus. Oh, I praise great change in me. Oh, there's a change. Something that I couldn't even see. Couldn't even see it, Lord, but I thank you for my change. Oh, something that I couldn't even see. Yeah, there's a change. Oh, thank you, Lord, for my change. Oh, hallelujah, there's a change.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Derek and singers. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, my beloved, I'm so glad that you have chosen to be with one another on this Memorial Day as we gather to recognize those who have died in combat, but we also remember all those who have served in the military branches. Remember those who have chosen paths that hopefully lead to peace. We also hold in our hearts and our prayers all of our Jewish siblings who are grieving two staff of the Israeli embassy, and the continued pain for all of our Jewish family and friends and their fear that seems relentless. And we hold in our hearts the brutality of the violence of the Palestinians in Gaza by the Israeli government. May this land know peace one day. And we hold in our hearts the people of Ukraine and the relentless aggression by Russia. I invite you to hold all this in our hearts as we enter into a period of silence, of meditation, or prayer. Spirit of love, hold us in your heart. Spirit of love, fill our bodies with your strength and resilience, with all that is holy, We seek love and connection and to rebuild this world from the destruction when we have become lost and too angry to see one another's pain. We seek out the God of many names who has been with us throughout the ages, in our darkest of despair and our greatest of joy. We seek out life in its fullness as it is embellished and deepened by true equity and justice for all. When our hearts are broken, we seek healing and the sustenance of empathy and compassion. When we find we can no longer look into the bright sunrise of the day, let us remember that we are not alone, that we are here together on this day of community building, of radical hospitality and love. Let us remember we are not alone on this journey of love and compassion and all that is holy, one day at a time, one note, one word, one hug, one moment. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be. I invite you to stay seated for our response 1023, Building Bridges.
We're going to sing this together as a round, but first let's just learn the phrases in case it's new to any of us. So if you would repeat after me. Building bridges between our divisions. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions. With all of our voices and all of our visions. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Great. Let's sing it all together once, and then we'll do it as a round by halves of the room. Here we go. Together. 2, 3, building. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
for this morning is The Gift of Remembrance by George Tiger. And there's a quote from Archibald MacLeish that starts this reading. The young dead soldiers do not speak. They have a silence that speaks for them at night. And when the clock counts, they say, we were young, we have died, remember us. I met Scott's father a year after he was killed. It was a pilgrimage for me. I drove 1,000 miles every moment, wondering if he'd see me as a symbol of a system that had taken his son. When he and his wife met me in their front yard, Mike and I hugged tightly for too short an eternity. As an Army chaplain and therapist, I understand the spiritual, psychological, and physiological foundations of trauma. I can talk for hours about how the body keeps score, about vagus nerve response, about the flight, fight, or freeze mechanism. I can reflect with you about the spiritual meaning of loss, grief, and suffering, how they fit in your life, and how they can burden the soul if held too tightly. I understand all this, yet not a day goes by when something doesn't bring to mind a young life now gone. Ghosts of what might have been are my everyday companions. I will not let them go, for I fear if I do that, I will forget. I'm greeted when least expected with waves of unbidden grief, tightness in the throat, vision blurred, a bit of welling tears, little tremor in my hand, all things that remind me that I cannot, I will not forget how many children lost, how many parents grieve. These memories, these ghosts are necessary reminders of the futility of war and the desperate need for peace in our world. The memories which come upon me not as thoughts but as bodily sensations have deepened my compassion and steeled commitment to bring peace to this suffering world. I serve in the U.S. Army. I support the readiness of those who have and will fight and win the wars our civilian leaders call us to fight. I love the people I am called to serve, knowing full well the dreadful reality we will face, we will one day face again. How then can I speak of peace? This is the difficulty of a holiday like Memorial Day. Memorial Day is not to be celebrated. It is to be observed, scrutinized, and witnessed on behalf of the true witnesses of our human failure to love our neighbors as ourselves. They are ghosts now, haunting lives with the gift of remembrance, so that we will not forget their living. But even more, that grief of remembering will create in us a yearning for peace, a yearning that will stir us to action. I pray, gracious God, living spirit of love, Give to me compassion steeled with commitment, that I might become your peace, given in loving sacrifice to our troubled world.
I learned to appreciate Memorial Day weekend in serving for 13 years at a church in Alexandria, Virginia that had a considerable membership of retired and active duty servicemen. I learned about commemorating those who died in the violence of war. And as author and Unitarian Universalist minister, military chaplain George Tiger wrote in those beautiful words we just heard, this is also a day of learning, of relearning, remembering the badly needed lesson of remembering why peace is so important. Not to minimize combat deaths, but Memorial Day is by extension an annual invitation by future generations to renew our devotion to peace and to reduce the violence in all the ugly forms that it arrives. War being the concentrated expose of humanity's deepest demons. Noel Geiler was one of those members I had the honor of serving as a minister. He was a retired Navy admiral. I've spoken about him before, such was the impact on my life. He was a retired Navy admiral, commander of the Pacific Command, headed up the Pacific Command, and at one point served as the director of the NSA, the National Security Association. And when he retired, he devoted his long retirement to peace. And particularly, he was an ardent supporter of nuclear disarmament. He became about this commitment because of what he saw when he was serving as a young pilot in the Pacific when Nagasaki and Hiroshima were bombed. Noel Geiler stood amongst the ferocious military as one who particularly believed in peace. I believe that his profound lesson to at least reduce the violence is a gift to all those who have died in combat. The theme of this month for us in May is devotion. And if we are devoted to peace and the reduction of violence, we must do so with an honesty and a commitment to truth about who we are as human beings. If humanity grieves our dead from the brutality of war with its horrors of organized, state-sponsored violence, we must do so with a devoted and honest exploration about the source code of violence from the depths of our evolutionary DNA. Right now, our political leaders are engaged in forms of violence that we had never thought possible from our political leaders. In June, we will be affirming and celebrating Pride. The gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex community. And we will do so publicly and with great joy, even as their own government is attacking them, particularly our trans siblings, who are being, ironically, thrown out of the military, despite their profound commitment to protecting the borders of this country. Our beloved trans friends and family are being attacked by their own country. We will also be rising up in June to recognize Juneteenth, when slavery was finally abolished throughout the country on June 19th. Yet racism is back in our lives and its daily threat as Congress increases funding into the military directly from the kitchen table of the poor and blocking the vulnerable from health care while deepening the pockets of the wealthy. With so much chaos and confusion it is important and crucial to remember that the ultimate goal must be to constantly be devoted to humanity's climb out of our brutish, violent nature. So that's what I want to highlight today. How do we do combat, so to speak, the tension between our better angels of ourselves and our inner demons? From interstate war to personal violence on the street to repression of entire groups of people, will humanity ever reach a point of peaceful coexistence? Back in 2011, Steven Pinker tried to do just that in his book, The Better Angels of Our Nature, Why Violence Has Declined. The title gives away the answer, so let me go ahead and remind you of the conclusions. Can we reach peaceful coexistence? Not likely, but we have come a long way. Can we climb out of our brutish nature? No, we'll always have bullies in the world. It's just how do we put containment fields around them? Is there hope? Yes, because we will always have heroes in the world as well, who remind us of morality and ethics and compassion and truth. In Pinker's 700 pages, he reviews humanity's vast history of violent nature. It's thoroughly documented, including many multiple studies. He recognizes the limits, particularly with history itself, due to the lack of documentation. It's good writing. While not everyone agreed with some of how Pinker used his studies, overall, people found it a very helpful and hopeful book. Yet he showed that the big picture in violence is in decline throughout the vast history. Despite all that we see and hear in the daily media, Pinker lays out hard evidence, a decline in the violence and the arc of human history. There is hope. Today, what we experience daily is not more violence, it's more exposure to violence. And the news, 24-hour news cycles, and every little notification we get from the news cycles in our social media, I encourage you to turn off the notifications. It has an impact on our central nervous system that is not healthy. And if you can accept Pinker's evidence, then he dives into important question of why has there been a decline, because we want to know why so that we can do more of that. Now, major historical points in history, there are many, but the ones that I highlight today, because they're memorable, are forks, printing press, democracy, Freud, and women. He traces the violent history of hunting for those influences, what he calls exogenous history, that is external forces that are not tied to the decline itself and a self-perpetuating decline, but rather those things that are completely disconnected from the decline. And that's how he came up with his list. So let's start with the invention of the fork. He marks a particularly strong, compelling argument that helped civilization, because we've come a long way from randomly stabbing at people with our readily available knife that was the predominant utensil when we were eating and chasing our peas across the dirty table with our unregulated emotions. Think about that the next time you pick up your fork, and be glad it's not a sharp knife. Another trend, the printing press, marking the expansion of broader circle of known and unknown associations and connections to one another, bursting open the worldview and our deepening capacity for empathy, of hearing each other's stories. It stopped the isolation. Influence of democracy, true democracy with inalienable rights, commitment to the openness of ideas, freedom of speech and press, not a democracy that has been gerrymandered with elections that are manipulated and intimidation from political leaders. impact of Freud and modern psychology, leading to deeper understanding of human biases and our impulses, leading to higher level of self-awareness and how we use the fork. And finally, I highlight women's rights, our fuller integration into economic and political power, leading to a calming influence on the more violent nature of the other gender, particularly among young men whose brains have not fully developed and have an abundance of testosterone. The more women in the lives of young men, the more they are tempered. I have 4 brothers. Just want to note that. They are all doing well because of me. Now, the challenge of Tinker's research and other researchers as well about the decline of violence is seen and accepting with the complexity of it all. We human beings, we love to see simplicity because it's easier to solve, is it not? But here it is. As Tinker says, everything in human affairs is connected to everything else, and is especially true of violence. If we don't easily sum it up, we think we can't easily solve it. There's no simplistic reason, he says, though. Humanity is brutish and yet has become less violent. Some research is proposing that war is always about economics or class. Again, Pinker says not so easily summed up. But despite the lack of simplicity, there is an overarching, unified theory that he proposes. He says that liberals are a crucial driving force in the decline of violence, not progressive liberals, not progressive liberals, rather classical liberalism, a commitment to individualism, fairness, and rationality. This push for moral values of individualism, fairness, and rationality, hallmarks of classical liberalism, pits against more conservative values of community, authority, and purity. And according to Jonathan Haidt, a well-known social psychologist, this is a problem. As we reflect on these values, particularly individualism versus community, which we talk a lot about here within Unitarian Universalism, we have to remember that all human beings have moral values, and we have the same moral values, even more in particular, but how we weigh them, how we emphasize them and live them varies from individual and from group to group. Volumes on each and every moral value are different. Morality is obviously crucial to humanity's ability to become less violent. So Pinker explores morality in addition to empathy and self-control and reason. But in looking at how our brain works, recognizing the existence, though, of universal moral standards developed across time and all cultures. It's so important to recognize when we start to slip into the dehumanizing of the other, that everyone has moral values. Yet overcoming our violent nature is not as simple as taking those moral rights and the wrongs and encasing them in law, as we are seeing right now. Pinker takes the challenge of recognizing, and I'm going to quote him in this, perverse genius for moral compartmentalization. Our perverse genius for moral compartmentalization. Put that on your burner tonight. Here's some examples. For centuries, it was acceptable for a tyrant to capture hundreds of women to spread the veracity through forced impregnation. That's why so many people have a genetic link to Genghis Khan. Constant struggle to dehumanize others is done to justify slavery, for example. The community is as important as a high value by conservatives as it is by us, but in different ways. But it has a dark side when it is overemphasized with group socialization leads to the dehumanization and othering of those who don't fit into the group. This is what we're witnessing with the brutality against our trans siblings and friends and family as they're being attacked and vilified by conservatives because they're being misrepresented as a threat. They're a threat to their current norms. Hold that. Don't get depressed yet. Morality is complex. We know this, and it's problematic. And it's so important that we remember our capacity to rationalize just about anything. We are blind to our biases and, our perverse genius for moral compartmentalization, which can help in complex, emotional, violent situations such as war, leading us to recognize and wrestle with our individual capacity to engage in violence. So here we're going to do some Freud stuff. Our individual capacity to wrestle with our ability to engage in violence. Go ahead, take a breath. We all have it. So Pinker lays out 5 inner demons with which we, some degree or another, have the capacity to express. They're all going to sound very familiar right now because they're so extreme. Predatory or instrumental violence, that is a practical means to an end to land grab or to grab resources, like Canada or Greenland. Dominance, the urge for authority, prestige, glory, and power. Dominance. The drive for revenge, the moralistic drive for retribution, punishment, and honor. Revenge. Sadism, taking pleasure in another's suffering. Sadism. Ideology, beliefs gone mad, pursuit of a perceived higher good no matter what. Ideology. These are traits that we all have within our human psyche. The good news is that we have psychologists to help us become more aware of them and engage in self-control. So, 4 better angels. I know that's really why you came this morning. 4 better angels. Okay. Our path of salvation, the driving forces that are decreasing violence. Over the long span of human history, and fortunately since the age of reason and the Enlightenment, religion has been a driving force of this. Not so much before. 4 better angels. Higher level of moral sense. Sanctified, ritualized through norms and taboos. Despite our capacity for compartmentalization, the more we ritualize our morality, the more deeply entrenched and stronger do we become at it, lighting a chalice at home or in our community. Expansion of empathy, symmetrical concerns across our boundaries. Expansion, that's the printing press, the ability to see the pain in one another. Increase of self-control. If we become more aware of our violent tendencies, we increase our self-control. And the emphasis on reason. This is where Unitarian Universalists particularly come in with our banner based on reason. Do we now engage religion? We've come a long way since the Crusades, have we not? The burning of heretics and witches, the systemic beating of children who were deemed evil, legalized slavery, all driven in part, yes, by religious fervor and truly awful theology at different times. We've come a long way. We rely less on impassioned honor, more on reason, increased empathy, that can derail vengeance. In 2015, I was struck by a story in the Washington Post of a perfect example of our better angels. It was the families of the victims of the Charleston, South Carolina shooting by Dylan Roof. It was a bond hearing for Dylan Roof, and Nadine Collier, who was the daughter of 70-year-old Ethel Lance, who was testifying for the bond hearing, who said to him, "I forgive you. You took something very precious from me. I will never talk to her again. I will never ever hold her again, but I forgive you and have mercy on your soul." Such courage is a testimony to the heroines and heroes in our lives, and it is they that we must elevate. So Pinker gives a great deal of credit to social liberalism. Social liberals, he says, are the leading edge of changes and attitudes that eventually drag along social conservatives as well. We just have to keep at it. Constant need for personal freedom, for fairness, for rational legal organization. Pinker doesn't make any predictions about the continued decline in violence, but he does give plenty of hope. One of the signs he raised that was significant to me is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. No single historical event can change or shift human history, but since the Enlightenment, two events have taken place that historian Lynn Hunt notes raises the importance of human rights. At the end of the 18th century is the Declaration of Independence, 1776, and the French Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen in 1789. But the second significant event was the mid-20th century, with the unfolding of the United Nations and the naming of the universal human rights, followed by decades of what Pinker calls the rights revolution. The rights revolution. If there is a place to land with our current political and social stress, it is here. We are still in the rights revolution. We're caught in a push and a pull of individual collective rights being demonstrated through our worst demons and our better angels, which social liberals must stay devoted to for the sake of peace and universal survival. The war dead are laying at our feet, and they're asking, was my life enough? My commitment, and I invite your commitment, is to stay devoted to being the better angels for the sake of all, and the foundation of our morality, of empathy, of self-control, and reason, to believe that we have something important to offer humanity. Amen. May it be so. Ashe. I invite you to rise as you're able. Circle round for freedom. Circle round for peace.
standing as you're able, as we extinguish your chalice.
The words are found in our hearts as well as the order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go forth into this world, my beloved. Go forth into this world knowing that your voice matters. Your actions matter. Your deeds and voice in this world are needed. Go forth. Stay deeply, deeply committed to the value of peace. Peace for all, rights for all. Return again with love. Blessed be.